This episode of the Flying Dutchman Podcast YouTube channel is brought to you by the podcast So There I Was. From Pete Harmon provided me with a VHS tape of his time in the Marine Corps giving a tour. Every one of their episodes is a front row seat to the wildest and funniest and most intense aviation stories ever told. I present to you this short reel, compliments again of Pete Harmon, a cockpit tour and flight demo that he performed while flying the Harrier. And the Harrier, it's a unique vertical short takeoff landing aircraft jet. It's used for close support. It's famous for its Pegasus vector thrust engine that lets it hover like a helicopter, operate from small ships and expeditionary bases. Primarily used by the United States Marine Corps, it's versatile, subsonic attack aircraft, armed with cannons, missiles, bombs, offers unmatched flexibility by launching from amphibious carriers, short runways, and it's also modified for night operations. And unfortunately, this might be the last year that the Harrier is being flown by the United States Marine Corps as they're sundowning it and bringing the F-35B and Charlies to the fleet, and they bring a whole new level to that support. So let's go on a cockpit tour with Mr. Pete Harmon.
I'm Pete Harmon, United States Marine Corps, and I'm sitting in the AV-8B Harrier 2, also known as the jump jet. It's a fairly complex machine, but ingenious in its design, and I'll take you through the cockpit and show you some of the things that I do to make this thing operate fast like a conventional airplane and even hover like a helicopter, or if I need to, back up as fast as 30 knots in reverse. Over on the left side, I have various controls down here. Basically to control my fuel flow to the engine. The big black knob here is the throttle. That's similar to the gas pedal in your car. And all I have to do is push it forward, and that's like pushing on the gas pedal in your car to make the airplane go faster. And I pull it back, and the airplane will slow down. There's a number of switches on here that's called HOTAS, hands-on throttle and stick. When I'm flying the airplane, I can control just about every function in the airplane without ever having to take my hands off the throttle and stick. This is a speed brake right here. Just like you have a brake pedal in the car, I pull back on this button and it puts a piece of metal down into the wind that helps slow the airplane down. So I can control my brakes by putting them in or taking them out to help me slow down. I talk on the radios by pushing these buttons here, and I wear an oxygen mask and a helmet, which is a headset and a microphone that helps me communicate with air traffic control. The unique thing about the Harrier is, again, like I said, we can hover like a helicopter or even back up. Inboard of the throttle here, I have a nozzle lever, and that controls 4 rotating nozzles on the side of the aircraft. I have markers here to tell me where the nozzles are set. As I pull the nozzle lever back, I can hover, or I push the nozzle lever forward. It allows me to go fast like a conventional airplane. Here's how I primarily control the airplane though, here, and this is called the joystick. When I want to take off, I push the throttle forward and I pull back on the stick, and it allows the nose of the airplane to come up. When I'm ready to go down, I just push forward on the stick, pull back on the throttle, and the airplane slows down and comes back down. The various features I have here are trim, which helps me control the pressures on the airplane. If I'm flying along straight and level and the nose wants to fall, I just click back on this switch a little bit, and the airplane readjusts itself to fly straight and level. My other various switches here are nose wheel steering and flight control computer release. And I can also control whether I have a TV camera or INS, which is an inertial navigation system, which helps tell me where I'm going. Anywhere in the world, all I have to do is plug in the latitude and longitude. Another nice feature about the Harrier is I don't have to look heads down into the cockpit when I'm flying in order to figure out where I am or what I'm doing. These instruments here are the standby attitude indicator and altimeter. This tells me how fast I'm climbing or descending, and a compass that tells me which direction I'm heading. And over here is my airspeed indicator. But if I'm using these instruments, it's more like an emergency, because my primary instrument is a HUD, or heads-up display, and that provides me with information while I'm looking out the window at all times. It gives me my airspeed, my altitude, the direction I'm heading, how fast my engine is running, how hot my engine is running, whether I've got my landing gear up or down, whether I've got my nozzles pulled in to hover, or whether I've got them pushed back, and numerous other displays. Over on the left side here is the TV, or the DDI, digital display indicator, and that gives me various indications as well as to where I'm going. I can plug in what we call a waypoint, which is a point somewhere on the surface of the Earth, and the computer tells me which direction I need to head and how long it's going to take me to get to that each waypoint that I put in. Right here in front of my face is my primary interface with the computers in the cockpit. I can turn my radios on and off here. I can change the radio channels, and again, the nice thing is it's right in front of my face the entire time. I don't have to look down in the cockpit. I can look out the window and see where I'm going and not run into other airplanes. Just a few other instruments in the airplane. On the right hand side here I have some engine instruments that tell me all about my engine, how fast it's running, how much fuel I'm using, how hot the engine's running, and how much pressure I have coming out of the back end of the engine. I also have my fuel indicators, which tell me how much gas I have left. And then down the right-hand side, I just have an electrical panel, which tells me whether the battery's on, whether the generator's on, and helps me control my engine start sequence and to turn the engine off. And I have some other radios here that allow me to interact with air traffic controllers without having to talk to them. I punch in a 4-digit code up here, and I turn the radio on down on the right-hand panel, and I never have to talk to the controllers. There's a 4-digit number that comes up on their screen, and it tells them who I am and where I'm going. And that's pretty much it in a nutshell. The Harrier is an extremely complex airplane, but simple and straightforward in its operation. And that's it in a nutshell, the AV-8B Harrier II. It's a complex airplane, but it's fairly simple to fly, fairly straightforward, and has the same controls much as any other aircraft in the world does. Really, the only different control I have is, again, that nozzle lever that allows me to hover or to go straight forward. Other than that, it's just like flying any other airplane. It's probably the most fun airplane in the world to fly, bar none.
Half of the remaining 39 aircraft will retire in 2026, with the rest being withdrawn from service by late 2027. So they are already distributing to museums, and I was fortunate enough to get down here before the rain set in and took these pictures of the Harrier at Castle. And remember, visit So There I Was for a good time.